Hi. Who are these weird dudes going around posting about sculptures? Oh, this was sculpted by a 23-year-old. This was sculpted by a 14-year-old. What's your excuse? Well, guess what, dude? Those motherfuckers didn't have anything else to do. I'm sitting around playing Farmville. I've seen accounts like this pop up at least 6 times in the last year, and I'm only now realizing that I've just seen a Socrates Stan account post Wojak memes. That one's a little fucking weird. I don't know about that. There's a handful of accounts like this. They're kind of like little bugs and roaches that you find underneath a big rock. They mainly post little quips and jabs about how uncivilized modern society is because gay people are walking around, and we should go back to the good old days like the 14th century where they didn't have toilets or a way to flush their dookie out into the street. And they also post things like make skyscrapers cathedrals again, asking Elon Musk to fund that venture, to make churches the only tall buildings, or to make all tall buildings into churches, or for Elon Musk to have all of the buildings that he works in turned into 14th century style cathedrals. Maybe that's what he wants. Cathedrals, of course, being very efficient to build. And easy too. Accounts like this, unfortunately, are always a little more insidious than they seem on the surface, so I've decided to do some digging into this account and a couple of others to find out what it means to be a traditionalist online. Boo! Gotcha. This video is sponsored by Lilo. Lilo is a premium adult toy brand that doesn't just focus on the ladies. Men's sexual health can be crucial to their mental health, and nothing's gonna get you into the right headspace more than the Loki Wave 2, a vibrating prostate massager that is perfect for couples or just single fellas and dudes. I mean, you never know. You can meet a nice fella on the way home from work on the train. You could just bond over the fact that you both have the Loki Wave 2, and that could happen. That could form a family eventually. Check it out. This little contraption has 2 vibrating motors, an innie and an outie. And this thing is ergonomic too. You can use the thing in any position that you want, and no carpal tunnel, no wrist pain. My tunnels are full and intact. With 12 different pleasure settings, you're gonna be in your bedroom exploring every single different setting. Someone's gonna come to your door and knock on the door and say, listen, we haven't seen you in a couple of days, and you're gonna say, yeah, that's because I'm playing with my new Loki Wave 2, and I'm trying all the 12 different pleasure settings, and it's actually great for me, and they're gonna be really happy for you. Look, not only is masturbation healthy, but it's also really fun. Toys are a great way to experience and explore more of yourself and your body, but they're also great gifts for a potential partner this upcoming romantic holiday time. Check out my link in the description to shop the Loki Wave 2 and other Lilo products. Thank you again to Lilo for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. Culture Critic is an account with about 250,000 followers. He works at education. Tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire. Accounts like these with famous sculptures as their profile pictures love to post things that seem profound, but are actually only things an antisocial middle schooler would think is cool to say. Of course, on the surface, these are all just pictures of buildings and statues, right? Like an account that posts dogs every day, but instead you post the Sistine Chapel. Normal. In fact, the format is so normal that we forget to question the substance of what they're posting and the context. When you see an account that posts like funny cats on skateboards or whatever, you have no reason to assume that they have an agenda. But art and architecture are political, and praising certain areas of art and disparaging others has political connotations to it. And if you have a big enough following, the pattern of those implications can become a very lucrative agenda. Oh, so you're saying buildings are political now, you gay leftist? Yeah, a lot of things are political, and it doesn't necessarily mean something negative. It's just a thing that makes conservatives really annoyed. Something being political is generally seen as like a bad thing, when it should be seen as something that everybody is affected by and can participate in. That being said, this is bad politics. Really, really bad, actually. Fascists have to hijack modern methods of expression to normalize their message, even though they claim to hate them. They just can't help themselves but use Twitter and Facebook to build their platforms, on top of being able to form their connections with other fascists and, of course, put links in their bio. Jordan Peterson has hours of lectures dedicated to the horrors of postmodernism, and yet he is the most Twitter-addicted man I have ever seen. Speaking of links in bio, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of the accounts I researched for this video had something that you can buy from them. Man, it's almost like there's some kind of common ground here. I can't see it at all. Conservatives and just general dumb guys online like to pretend that being a leftist on the internet is some kind of easy grift, when if you're a conservative, all you need to do is post a picture of the Mona Lisa and say, What happened?
Why did artists stop making art? It's not art, it's a toilet. It doesn't say anything. What uneducated peasants built during the Dark Ages versus what educated PhDs built today. Does he think that PhDs physically build buildings they design? Because there were educated people designing Gothic architecture. They literally weren't peasants that designed it. They were slaves that built it. Without a single degree, they created art that inspired generations. And then artists with degrees arrived. Fun fact about Van Gogh, took his own life, unfortunately, and a big part of that is because he was living in constant poverty throughout his life. The cultural critics at the time actually hated his art and rejected it every time he tried to show it. He painted Starry Night in an asylum at the lowest point of his life and died years before anyone recognized his talent. So it's always very interesting to me that conservatives now shit on modern art as if that hasn't been the pattern for boundary-pushing art throughout all of history.
Fascists have a tendency to insist that modern art is horrible and disgusting and degenerate, even though the term modern art can date as far back as the 1870s. These guys don't like to think about that, though. They just, misrepresent modern art by the duct tape banana wall, which, sure seems to affect them, which is kind of like the goal of art, is to make you feel things. But the main reason fascists hate modern art is because it's disproportionately made by queer people, people of color, or people from otherwise marginalized backgrounds. There are obvious exceptions, like Jackson Pollock, for example, but the people who push boundaries tend to live in the margins of society where boundaries don't mean as much. Because the boundaries that can confine art are based in the same principles that likely dictate marginalized people's material conditions. White supremacy. So yeah, when people post, why can't we have big cathedrals instead of big skyscraper, there's a little taste of fascism there. Not to mention, it's very similar to the attitudes that self-identified fascists did have in the 1930s. Modernism is a form of degeneracy is a dead giveaway for someone being a really fucking weird guy. Posting pictures of just disgusting and nasty and so stinky an apartment complex is. Oh, it's like it's full of ants and all their little ant eggs there too, and their queen of ants. It kind of implies a similar distaste for the people living inside. Yeah, no one likes cheap, shitty housing that's way more expensive than it should be. But rather than actually addressing the problems that capitalism creates that allows low-income housing to be so systemically neglected in this country, they make it a cultural problem. There's a culture of people being poor and icky and making me sad. It's subtle, but it's a consistent theme in accounts like these. These accounts are also really childish with how they analyze things. All they basically say is, big old stuff is good, ugly new stuff is bad. Because they have to appeal to the most basic feelings that people have without addressing any systemic issues, because they can't give away too much of their own agenda. They can't talk about how much they hate poor people. They can't talk about how similar they are to Nazis in the 1930s. They dislike the same things for the same reasons. Weird. There's a difference between appreciating art and appreciating certain kinds of art made by certain kinds of people in certain kinds of contexts. Art is inherently political because it reflects the attitudes of a culture at a certain time. It's impossible to separate even the most realistic art from its political and social context. Take the Gross Clinic, for example, which was seen as an incredible masterpiece in the late 1800s and the standard for academic realism. This was unveiled just a few years after Dance at the Moulin, which, like many other Impressionist paintings at the time, was not seen as praiseworthy in the slightest, was seen as amateurish and childish. Academic realism was the only acceptable mainstream form of expression in the French art world, and because of how insular and exclusionary many French artists were at the time, and because of how influential their approval was, it pushed Impressionists to the margins to the point where they had to create their own salon to show their art in. It was a pivotal point in art history, and since then, art has only become more extreme, more expressive, more boundary pushing, and dare I say, even more queer. So not only are these guys fetishizing art that was made in a completely different century, in a completely different cultural context, but they're also, signaling a little something about being out of line or stepping outside of boundaries. Boundaries from, the 1830s. The Art of Purpose is another Twitter account with over 200,000 followers, and yes, he does have an Elon Musk profile picture, and he mainly just posts the same kind of Instagram memes that are too mid to make it to iFunny. I am the millionaire educator that is turning Twitter into my personal art gallery. That is truly just so odd to say that. This account is more or less the same as all of the others in this genre, but a little more direct about how Christian nationalism is the way to fix all of society's problems. He also likes tweets like this. I just invented a word.
Electrability. Noun. The quality of being electric, possessing a strong and vibrant life force. He just had that electrability about him. You mean magnetic, charming, fascinating, full of personality, strong in character, mesmerizing, captivating, bewitching, beguiling, attractive. No, I mean electrability. That is not a satire post, by the way. That account is fully fucking real and very serious. Here's another tweet that he liked. Men only want two things: women and watermelon. That has 15,000 likes. The Art of Purpose loves tweeting so much that he has a $50 class on how to write a tweet. He actually has several classes on how to build a business through social media, which seems kind of contradictory to how much he posts about all a man needing is a wife and family.
Thanks for fixing my mental health. I literally just let you suck my titties. That's more than enough. What's one red flag you look out for when dating someone? Are they communists? The biggest red flag of all. Yeah, I guess red is a color commonly associated with communism. Not wrong about that. Smoking is at the top for me. Filthy habit. The fuck? Normal people wear red and are scary. Evil extremists are just the guys that pray in church. It's pretty ironic that all conservatives really care about is aesthetics. All you need to do is look really scary, and conservatives will think you're like a Satanist. Bring back feminine women. Oh please, all I want is a woman who touches her horse. Hi, I'm right here. A little farmy, but we exist. Gubba Homestead? That's not your name. Ultimate Flex is a loving family. This is not something to brag about, but this is. I don't know, both of them just look like ways of saying I have sex that are weird to do. Alright man, if you have more than 4 kids, there's something fucking wrong with you. 4 is even pushing it. But when you expect someone to deliver a litter for you, I feel like you have to have engaged in some type of hypnosis.
Not exactly trad to start a social media business, drop shipping or whatever. Here's one of the free posts on his website. How I made $100,000 selling digital products. Lesson 1, you need to move fast and take action. To make money online, you need to work fast, execute. This will allow you to get in the zone and will lead you to creating better products. Google creativity faucet. This man just told you to Google creativity faucet.
I don't really know how to end this video. These accounts suck and are weird, and not enough people understand how similar their worldview is to white nationalists and, Nazis. You can enjoy classical art all you want, but if you're using it as a historical bookmark to say maybe slavery wasn't so bad, at least we had beautiful buildings, just not good to do. No good. But that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please click like if you had a good time, or subscribe for more videos just like this every week. You can join the Patreon, you'll see stuff on there. You will. All my socials are in the description, as well as my Twitch streams where you can catch me live. Thank you again so much for watching, and please click on another video to watch. I'm gonna sit here until you do it. You have to click another video of mine to watch it. No, dude, I'm serious. Alright, if by now you haven't done it, something's fucking wrong with you. Please, man, come on, please click another video to watch. Can you please?